with what we've been working on this last week. It's been perimeter. So what we're going to work on today is we're going to actually be finding the perimeter of a chocolate bar. So we're going to be applying a world concept with what you've already been working on. So what we're going to get started with is I'm going to be asking you a few questions. So let's see what you think about this. So my question to you is, what are some world concepts that you know of? What are some jobs that you can think of that they need to use the perimeter, where we need to find the perimeter?
Engineering.
Engineering. What would be another one? Think of yourself in a future job where you would have to apply the concept of perimeter. What was that? Okay, so what were you thinking, like a designer? Designers would actually have to measure, right? Architects. So basically, it's very important to use the tools of measuring and then finding the perimeter around a shape, no matter what it is. But today we're going to go ahead and just focus on rectangles like we've been doing the rest of the week. So my first concept to you to review is, this is my pool. I have a 4-year-old son and I cannot have him be near the pool. So I need to figure out what the perimeter would be for this shape in order for me to put a fence around it. So I need you to tell me, pretend that I don't know any concepts of perimeter, and I need you to tell me, what would I do first?
Measure.
What would I measure? I would measure the width, and can you show me where the width is? It's the shorter sides, right? And what else would I do after that? I would measure my length, right? And then that way I also know that I'm working with a rectangle, right, as opposed to a square. So I would go ahead and grab my ruler. I'm going to go ahead and use the inches side. And I would measure side to side, and I know that this side measures 11 inches, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go ahead and measure this side. And I know this measures, I'm going to round it off, and I'm going to say 8 inches, right? What would I do once I know my two sides?
You need to...
And remember, please always use the resources you have. Right. So I need to add my two sides, right? And really, when we're finding the perimeter, what are we finding of a shape?
The area. The base.
We're finding the sides. I think we get confused because with area, we also deal with sides. But with perimeter, we don't want to know what's inside. That would be the area. We want to know what's the outside, right? So just like Abraham said, we want to find out what the total of the sides would be. So just like you said, we would go ahead and take two sides plus the two lengths and the two widths, and combine them. And that's where we have this formula. Instead of adding this plus this plus this plus this, we can just go ahead and use our formula for perimeter, right? So if I were to calculate that, and if I have...
times 11 plus 8.
Right, so I would have 11 plus 11, right? Or 11 plus 8. What would that be? You can actually do it on the board. So if I have my perimeter equals 2,
19.
and then we have 11 inches plus, what was the other side? 8 inches. Then I would add, just like you guys did, so I would have 19 inches. And I don't know about you, but I can't multiply this way. So I'm just going to go ahead and write it this way. So 9 times 2 is 18. I'm going to carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1. 38 what?
Inches.
Units are very important. So I would know that in order for me to build that fence, to save my son from being not safe, I know that my perimeter has to be 38 inches. So when I go to the store, I need to take that into account to know how much I need to buy, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to go ahead and apply that now to another world concept, which is something as simple as finding the perimeter of a bar of chocolate. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and open it. Once you get it, I'm going to ask you to please not eat it yet, as you will have a treat afterwards. So we're going to look over what you're going to do with that, and you'll be working independently and showing what skills you have. So go ahead and open your bar of chocolate.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead and open it. And then I'll also be giving you a ruler. So try to be very careful with not breaking it just yet. You will be breaking it, but at this moment, I need you to look at the entirety of the bar. So I see Abraham is ready. I see that Juan and Arlene are almost ready. So if you look at your paper, I've already noted for you what the perimeter of the rectangle is, and you also have it up here. We went ahead and did an example, so now let's look at the directions. Juan, can you read the directions, please?
Show your work and complete the following.
Okay, so number 1, you're going to measure the length and width of the chocolate bar. So go ahead and do that now. Yes, let's go ahead and do inches. That was a good question, Arlene. So there's a portion for you to either write the measurements on the bottom, or you can actually write it on the bar that I pretty much laid out for you there. So you can decide which one you'd rather use. So I noticed some of you are already moving on to the width. So when we look at inches, a ruler like this one always has inches and centimeters. So go ahead and focus on the inches. So you're going to take it from 0, you're going to put the very end to 0, and then you're going to put it to 2 inches. Okay, so I noticed that some of you are done with that first portion. Go ahead and turn it around and complete the rest of it.
We have to come. Oh, okay.
So here you're actually finding. So number 2, you're finding the perimeter of the entire Hershey's bar. So if you notice, I put 1, 2, and 3 so that you can show your work. Okay, what would be the first step? What would be the second step? And what would be the third step? Which would include your answer. So I'm noticing that you're including your units in your work. So that's a good reminder for you that you also need to include that in your answers. Yes. So go ahead and move on. And if you notice on number 3, it tells you to break a small square. So if you notice the Hershey's bar in its entirety, it's divided into 3, 6, 9, 12 pieces. So you can break it in half, but what I want you to end up with is one small square.
Oh, a small one.
Mm-hmm. So this is your candy bar, so you can break it as you desire. And if you find that it's not perfect, that's okay. The most important thing is to round off the estimate for our
Excuse the interruption, horticulture business technology students. This is a note regarding free dress for tomorrow. Mr. Carlos and I have a list of 615 students who returned their 8th grade culmination letters for 7th graders and their TDAP notification for 6th graders. So we have a list that we have, and we're going to memorize everybody's name.
618, 3 more are added right now.
So tomorrow will be free dress for those 618 students. The passes are going to be distributed during your second period class tomorrow. But we have that list memorized.
You can do the fraction half, or you can do 0.5. Whatever's comfortable for you. So you're fine. Your measurements are accurate. Mm-hmm. So then we would move on to the last question, which is finding the perimeter of the small square you just broke. So again, you're applying what you already know about finding the perimeter to just a different sized rectangle. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at your work. So you included your units. This one might have been a little bit tricky because you have to do, so you showed the work here. That would be correct.
Yes, ma'am.
So here you did